The first wrong note of the afternoon arrives before Olivia even lifts her baton.
"Don't come in yet, Edna," she says, without even looking at the owner of the low C that just rumbled through the room like an old tractor.
The auditorium of the Candlelight Springs Community Center smells like Christmas chaos. Artificial pine warmed by string lights, reheated coffee in a thermos that should have retired years ago, and gingerbread cookies one of the choir grandmas has been baking since approximately 1982. At the center of it all, the community choir 15 distracted teenagers. 12 ladies in faux fur coats, 3 neighbors convinced they're Broadway soloists, and 1 man in a reindeer sweater who sings so loudly he could compete with the fire alarm system. Olivia Jones takes a deep breath, feels her sports bra doing its best to keep her in one piece, and decides she's not going to yell today. At least, not much.
"From the top," she says, marking the beat with her hand.
Her long, curvy fingers used to keyboards and whiteboards draw a 1, 2, 3, 4 in the air.
And remember,
She points her gaze at the teenagers whispering in the back.
If you can talk, you can sing, and if you can sing, you can tune. A ripple of laughter runs through the group.
The younger ones roll their eyes, but they straighten a little.
The ladies nod, delighted to have official permission to glare at the youth. At the piano, a gray tabby cat stretches like he's about to give a recital of his own. Mistletoe, undisputed king of the music room, yawns with a lazy meow and drops a paw onto the keys, producing a dissonant chord.
"Thank you for your contribution, maestro," Olivia mutters.
"But today I choose the key." The choir launches into the carol for the umpteenth time. The low ceiling vibrates with uneven voices, the white lights flicker a little, the heater hums in the background. Olivia listens, corrects, lifts an eyebrow here, a hand there like a traffic controller at rush hour.
"All right, universe."
At 45, your plan for me is to conduct a choir where the sopranos are late. The basses are too loud, and my only emotionally stable companion is a cat with rock star syndrome. The thought makes her smile despite herself. One of the ladies catches it and smiles back, like they've shared a private joke.
"Stop," Olivia says, raising her hand.
The sound collapses in stuttering pieces. "Kids, we're not sacrificing goats, we're singing Silent Night, less drama, more harmony." A couple teenagers laugh. Another, in a hoodie, pretends to stab himself in the heart with a folder. "We're trying, Miss Jones," he says in a tragic tone. "I know, Trevor, but the goal is for the audience to leave the festival with Christmas spirit." "Not tinnitus," she replies. The laughter spreads this time. Humor is her best tool. A gentle hand, precise irony, and the sense that if they're in her choir, it's because someone believes they can sound good even if today isn't the day. Olivia glances at the wall clock. Less than 3 weeks until the Candlelight Springs Carol Festival, the big event on December 23rd, and her choir still sounds like a family on Christmas Eve. Lots of love, zero coordination.
"One more time from measure 9, she says. "And this time, Edna,
You come in after the alto's not on top of them. I get emotional."
"Honey," Edna replies with a dangerously grandmotherly smile.
"Christmas turns my volume up." "Everyone's," Olivia murmurs, but she raises the baton again. As the choir tries again, her eyes drift for a second to the side window. Outside, Candlelight Springs prepares for winter like it's a show that has to be produced every year without fail. Warm lights on shop fronts, pine wreaths on doors, a sloppy snowman in the square still faceless. The sky is a clean gray, and now and then a lonely snowflake falls, like it changes its mind halfway down. If this goes wrong, goodbye music budget. Goodbye new piano. Hello cuts and music and digital tech. Shared classes in a room that smells like burnt plastic. Closing parenthesis. She presses her lips together and returns to the present. "All right," she says when they finish the verse. "Not bad." Several faces brighten. "I didn't say it was good," she adds, raising an eyebrow. "I said it wasn't bad. That's progress. And at my age, I value progress a lot." Laughter is her reward. The back door opens and the director appears, clutching his inseparable plastic folder and wearing that tight smile Olivia now associates with "I'm bringing bad news wrapped in bureaucracy." 5-minute break, Olivia announces. "Water, bathroom, cookies? And don't touch my piano." Mistletoe stares at her from his yellowed ivory throne, offended. "You can," Olivia corrects, softer. You can touch whatever you want, sweetheart. The choir's break murmur fills the hallway. Laughter. Footsteps. Someone humming a carol while people grab gingerbread and paper cups of coffee. Olivia stays on stage, straightening sheet music on the stand. She knows the director didn't come to deliver holiday cheer. Olivia, he says, approaching. Do you have a minute? No, I don't have a minute. I don't have half. I've got seconds on sale, eye bags included. Of course, Mr. Bennett, she answers, flipping her responsible teacher smile into automatic mode. What's going on?
He glances around, as if the piano might record the conversation. It'll be quick.
I had a meeting with the board this morning, about the festival. There it is. The stone in her shoe. Olivia crosses her arms, not defensively, she tells herself, but because the room's a bit cold. And the situation is complicated, he begins in speech mode. The town council cut funding, the usual sponsors pulled out. If the festival doesn't raise enough this year, I'm afraid the music program.
He pauses. Olivia fills it in inside her head, of course.
Hello, Excel, goodbye, Beethoven. Could face significant cuts, Bennett finishes. Fewer hours, fewer materials. We may have to share resources with other departments. Translation. Teaching music in the same room where they do computers and crafts with white glue. Keyboards stacked on cardboard boxes. A drum kit with glitter stickers. Olivia swallows. I understand, she says. Though what she understands is that her small kingdom, that bubble where people sing out of tune but feel part of something, is in danger. We're counting on you, he adds, patting her arm in a way she hates. The Carol Festival has always been a success. I'm sure it will be this year too. He leaves before she can ask what exactly success means in euros. He leaves her alone on stage, with the choir's chatter behind her and the weight of the news settling on her shoulders like another layer of coat. Mistletoe leaps from the piano to the music stand with insulting agility. He stares at her like he knows how to add budgets. Don't look at me like that, Olivia tells him. I'm not letting them turn us into a footnote in the center's budget. Hear me? The cat answers by taking a decisive step across the sheet music, knocking half of it onto the floor. Perfect, she sighs. A feline mutiny. Just what I needed. When break ends, the choir shuffles back in, dragging feet and scarves. Olivia resumes rehearsal with an energy she doesn't feel, but she fakes it until the final bar. All right, heavenly voices, she says, clapping to get their attention. If we want this festival to be unforgettable, we need more than enthusiasm and cookies. So today we work like the future of the music program depends on it. Does it? One girl asks, frowning. Olivia hesitates. She could lie. She could say no. Everything's fine. But she owes them honesty, PG-rated honesty. Let's say if the festival goes very badly, Mr. Bennett will have more worry wrinkles than lights on the tree in the square, she answers, choosing irony. And we don't want that, do we? A messy chorus of no rises from different corners. Good. Measure 9. And this time, like you want to prove to the world that Candlelight Springs can sing outside the shower. She lifts the baton. The choir inhales. The voices join still imperfect, but a little more awake. That's when the back door opens again, letting in a gust of cold air and a slash of hallway light. Olivia doesn't turn. She's learned that reacting to every noise costs you half a soprano. But the murmur in the back rows changes texture. After years, she recognizes the "oh" that means something or someone interesting just walked in. Mistletoe, for his part, hops off the piano with sudden agility and heads straight for the door, tail high, as if he's greeting royalty. Great, now we have a surprise visitor. What is it? Another memo about cuts? Lost tourists? Santa Claus hunting for a high C. Keep going, Olivia orders, without turning around. The carol continues, though a few voices wobble off pitch. When the verse ends, she lowers her arms and finally turns. She sees him. Leaning in the doorway, wearing a dark knit beanie, 3-day stubble, and a puffer jacket that's seen better winters, stands a young man. Young in the "this could be illegal, if my self-esteem weren't properly strapped down" way. Light eyes, tired but attentive, a shy little smile. In his hands, a folder and a long case that could hold microphones or some kind of sound gear. At his feet, Mistletoe rubs against his boots like they've known each other forever. Can I help you? Olivia asks, using her best I'm in control here director voice. Inside, her brain clicks. She's seen that face before. Not in Candlelight Springs. On a screen. In Christmas music videos specifically, he steps forward. I'm looking for Olivia Jones, he says, in a voice that's low but gentle made for whispering carol lyrics into an expensive mic. They told me you direct the choir. That would be me, she replies. And you are... He offers his hand with a slightly nervous smile. Liam Parker, I'm here for the temporary sound tech position. I think Mr. Bennett sent my application through. The name lands between them like a sustained note. Olivia recognizes it instantly, but her teacher-trained face doesn't twitch. All right, Brain, thank you for the drama playlist. Of course you bring me a former Christmas pop idol today. 29, cancer puppy face, and probably matching trauma. She feels the choir's eyes bouncing between her and him, as if expecting them to start a duet. Olivia shakes his hand, noting the warmth of his skin against her cold fingers. Welcome to Candlelight Springs, Mr. Parker, she says. I hope you're not afraid of carols on loop. A shadow of something humor, irony, pain, passes through his eyes. I survived entire tours with one single Christmas song on every radio station, he replies. I think I can handle this. Mistletoe meows like a punctuation mark. Then, in a complete act of betrayal, he jumps into Liam's arms and settles there like he's found his new home. Olivia looks at him, at the cat, at her choir. Perfect. My professional future depends on a carol festival. And the universe sends reinforcements in the form of a famous 20-something with a bonus cat attachment. This cannot end well. Or it could end very, very interesting. The second time Olivia and Liam meet is not glamorous. Instead, it's tangled cables, a microphone squealing like it's possessed, and Edna asking, dead serious, whether that feedback thing is contagious. No, Edna, it's not a virus, Olivia says, rubbing her brow. It's just sound complaining about how we're treating it. Like my ex-husband. Edna answers loudly enough that half the row of ladies laughs. Liam is crouched in front of the main speaker, wearing a focused expression Olivia finds indecent. Not because he's doing anything scandalous, just because there's something almost intimate about the way he furrows his brow and bites his lip while adjusting a cable. Great, Olivia. Objectify the sound tech. That'll definitely fix the festival budget. Okay, let's try now, he says, standing.
He runs a hand through his hair, messing it up even more, and steps toward the central mic.
Can you sing a couple measures? Something soft. Olivia looks at the choir. Kids, Silent Night, from the top. And remember, soft doesn't mean asleep. The first notes fill the room. This time, the speaker doesn't squeal, but a low hum seeps under the voices. Liam raises a hand. Stop, stop, he says calmly. The choir obeys. Not only because of him, Olivia trains them to stop on a dime from day one, but she notices the way they're listening. I think the bass mic is too close to the speaker, Liam murmurs, more to himself than anyone. And someone has a phone on. His gaze swings to the teenagers. 4 heads drop at once. One of them, Trevor, pulls his phone out like it's a weapon and holds it up. I swear, Mr. Parker, I was just checking the lyrics, he says. Uh-huh, Liam replies with a tiny grin. And I only use Instagram to look at cat photos. 2 guilty laughs slip out of the youth row. Olivia narrows her eyes, half amused, half alert. She isn't used to someone else steering her territory. But she has to admit, there's something about how Liam moves around the stage. He doesn't invade. He doesn't command. He proposes. Let's try something, he says, lowering the mic stand a bit and guiding the cable aside. Basses take 1 step forward, but no more. Sopranos, when you hit the high notes, step a little away from the mic. Think of the microphone like that distant aunt who wears too much perfume. Affection, yes, but not in your personal space. A few bursts of laughter. One of the ladies looks personally attacked. Olivia arches an eyebrow. Want to conduct too, Parker? She asks, lightly ironic.
He lifts his hands, half joking, half surrendering. Not at all, this is your kingdom.
I just speak technology dialect, so we all get along. It pulls a smile from Olivia. She didn't expect him to be so. Careful. A textbook Cancer. Her inner astrology nerd decides conciliatory, nurturing, and with the face of someone who cried at a Christmas commercial. From the top, she says, lifting the baton. This time, when the choir starts, the voices sound clearer. Still rebellious notes, but something clicks into alignment. The sound fills the room with a new warmth, like they finally found the right switch. Liam nods, satisfied, from the improvised mixing station he's built out of 2 old amps and a laptop. Okay, I admit it. The boy knows what he's doing. Mistletoe has decided the mixing station is his new throne. He hops up beside the laptop and rests his head on Liam's right hand, forcing him to twist his wrist at a deeply unergonomic angle. "No, buddy," Liam whispers with a tenderness Olivia hears from the stage. "If you press there, we lose sound." The cat stares back with huge green eyes and astonishingly moves his paw away. "Do you speak cat?" Olivia asks when they pause. "I'm a Cancer," he says with a shrug. It comes pre-installed. The room laughs. Olivia blinks. She doesn't often meet men who openly claim emotional intelligence without turning it into a joke at someone else's expense. "I'm a Gemini," she shoots back. "Just so you're warned in case I suddenly start conducting the choir and planning a revolution at the same time." Trevor raises his hand. "Miss Jones, does that mean you're on the good side today or the chaotic side?" "It means if you keep singing off-key, the chaotic side wins," she answers, dryly smiling. After rehearsal, the choir dissolves into the hallway, taking crumbs of cookies and fragments of melodies with them. Olivia stays behind collecting sheet music, like always. The empty auditorium feels like a deserted church, echoes of voices, chairs out of place, that sense that something just ended and something else is about to begin. Liam shuts down the speakers one by one. The silence afterward is almost too big. "That sounded better," he says, breaking the calm as he unplugs cables. "With work, we can make the final number impressive." "Impressive for who?" Olivia asks, stacking folders. "The town audience or the board members with their Excel sheets?" He smiles small. "Ideally both. But I was thinking more about the town audience." She studies him, curious. "Doesn't it make you nervous, the numbers?" she asks. "If the festival doesn't raise enough, they cut the music program. And I end up with a choir without a piano and an offended cat." Mistletoe, as if he heard his name, hops down and rubs against Olivia's legs. Liam leans on the edge of the sound table. "I spent too many years living by numbers changing on a screen," he answers. "Listeners, sales, streams, tickets sold. If I get nervous now about a town festival chart, they'll revoke my former famous card." There's humor in it, but also something darker, a shadow Olivia recognizes, the shadow of someone who's lived under a spotlight that burns. "Then, if you're not worried about the numbers, what are you worried about?" she asks. He holds her gaze a beat too long. Olivia's skin prickles, and it's not from cold. "That people want to come back," he says at last. "That they leave feeling something. Even if it's just that they sang really loud and laughed. That's the only thing that mattered, even at the big concerts." A surprising pang of affinity hits Olivia. "That we can control," she says. The laughs and the wanting to come back. A comfortable silence settles. Mistletoe takes advantage by jumping from Olivia's legs to Liam's, then straight to his shoulder like he's a human coat rack. "Hey, traitor," Olivia protests. "I pay your emotional salary." Liam laughs low and warm. "I think he's decided I'm no longer a guest," he says, scratching the cat's chin. "I'm furniture. If it's an evaluation, you're doing better than most," Olivia says. Mistletoe only approves people who don't go off key when they think no one's listening. Liam looks up, surprised. "You heard me sing?" Olivia shrugs, feigning indifference. "You were humming while you adjusted the mic levels, and you were in tune, unfortunately." "Unfortunately," he repeats, amused. "Yes, if you were off key, I'd like you a little more." I could feel superior at something. Their eyes meet. Something sparks quick and bright. "Easy, Olivia. They're just pretty eyes, like millions of pretty eyes, with ridiculous lashes and that adopted puppy stare." "Okay, not helping." Liam looks away, first not awkwardly, more like he knows how to ration intensity. "I can pretend to be off-key if it helps teamwork," he jokes. "No thanks," she says. "Trevor is enough." Later, in the center's cafe, the atmosphere shifts key. The lights are warmer, the Christmas decor is a bit extra red garlands, gold ornaments, and an inflatable Santa that looks slightly depressed, and the smell of fresh coffee mixes with cinnamon. Olivia and Liam end up in line together. She has a folder under her arm. He has the mic case slung over his shoulder. My treat, he says before she can reach for her wallet. Absolutely not, Olivia answers immediately. If I accept coffee from Soundtex on day 1, tomorrow you'll be demanding to choose the repertoire. He raises his hands theatrically. I solemnly swear I won't suggest a single song without Director Jones' permission. That sounds like a loophole, she counters, yet she doesn't fight him when he insists again, with a kind of kindness that doesn't feel patronizing. They sit by the window. Outside, afternoon settles slowly over Candlelight Springs, turning on house lights one by one. Loose snowflakes begin to stick to the glass. So, Olivia begins sipping her coffee. How long are you staying? Liam pauses before answering. For now, until after the festival, he says. Then we'll see. We'll see? She repeats. I have a very persistent manager who thinks I need a big Christmas comeback, he explains, doing an excellent city executive voice. I think I need 8 hours of sleep in a row to learn how to cook something that doesn't come packaged and to remember why I started singing. So we made a deal, a few weeks away, then we'll see if I still want to go back to the circus. Olivia listens quietly. She recognizes the mix of sarcasm and exhaustion. She's made imaginary deals with life too, just to avoid collapsing. Why Candlelight Springs? She asks. Did someone throw a dart at a map? He smiles, tilting his head. Almost. I wanted somewhere small with mountains, snow, and enough outlets to set up sound gear, he says. And the community center needed a tech for the festival. It felt like a fair trade. We provide carols, you provide cables. And we all pretend this isn't a Christmas movie, Olivia summarizes. Exactly, he says. And I promise I won't burst into song under the snow holding mistletoe. Unless contractually required, she laughs. All right, universe. If you're sending cliches, at least send them with a sense of humor. I'll keep it in mind for the final number, she jokes. Though I don't think the town is ready for choreography featuring a former pop star. He plays with the rim of his paper cup. Don't worry, he says, more serious. I'm not exactly a pop star anymore. Just a guy who can place mics, and who once memorized a lot of carols. Olivia notices the tone shift, and being a good Gemini chooses not to dive headfirst into that topic. Not yet. Well, you're useful here, she replies. We've got carols for days. Memory. Depends on the day. Mistletoe appears out of nowhere like cats do and hops onto the empty chair beside Olivia. Then he jumps again and settles in her lap, purring. Liam smiles. Does he always do that?
He asks. No, Olivia says.
Usually he demands tribute in the form of ham before he grants his presents. He must like you. Liam's eyes soften. Well, at least I have someone in town on my side, he says. Olivia feels a strange pinch in her chest. Maybe it's just empathy. Maybe it's something dangerously close to interest. Control, Jones. He's 29.
He probably still has t-shirts with his own face in a drawer.
If you keep the sound system from exploding on festival day, she says, finishing her coffee, you might make more friends. Liam tilts his head. Including the choir director? He asks, a playful spark in his eyes. Olivia stands, gathering her things. We'll see, she replies. I'm a Gemini. I can't promise anything before the second rehearsal. She leaves the cafe with mistletoe in her arms, aware of Liam's gaze following her. Outside, the snow starts falling with a bit more commitment. Olivia breathes in the cold air, lets it clear her head, and thinks that with an imperfect choir, a budget in danger, and a former famous guy installing himself into her professional life, Christmas, this year, will not be calm. And a part of her, the part that still believes in second chances and in songs that come from the chest, smiles at the idea. All right, universe. Let's play. 2 weeks had passed since the cafe encounter. 2 weeks of chaotic rehearsals, snow piling on windowsills, and a routine that Olivia Jones, 45 years old, with a Virgo rising screaming for order, was starting to find dangerously addictive. The auditorium was nearly empty. The smell of old floor wax, velvet dust, and Liam's sandalwood cologne filled the air. Olivia was on stage, collecting sheet music the teenagers had abandoned like confetti. Her lower back ached. She stretched, feeling her spine crack. She wore chocolate-brown corduroy pants and a cream turtleneck that hugged her generous curves. She felt tired but strangely alive. Liam was down below at the sound table, coiling cables with hypnotic skill. He wore a gray long-sleeve thermal shirt that fit his arms and worn jeans. At 29, he had that inexhaustible energy that sometimes made Olivia jealous and other times made her panic. Today's sound was decent, Olivia said from the stage, trying to sound professional even as her eyes followed the movement of his hands. Liam looked up. His light eyes glinted in the low light. Decent is high praise coming from you, maestro. Usually you say we sound like a pack of cats in a blender. Olivia let out a short laugh, stepping down carefully. Not today. Today, when Edna hit the solo, there was magic. Thanks to you adjusting the reverb. Liam set the cable down and walked to the edge of the stage, meeting her at the foot of the steps. It wasn't me. It was you, the way you lead them. You make them believe they can fly. He leaned against the stage edge, now level with her. It's fascinating to watch you work, Olivia. You have authority. The word authority in his mouth sounded almost indecent. Heat climbed up Olivia's neck. Control, Jones. He's looking at you like you're a complex symphony. But remember the numbers. 45, 29. He's toured the world with 20-year-old models who don't need shapewear. You have a mortgage and a cat with separation anxiety. Don't fall. It's experience, Liam. Something you collect over the years, she said, holding the age gap up like a shield. When you've done this as long as I have, you learn tricks. Liam took a step closer, slipping into her personal space with that elegant and predatory ease. Experience is sexy, Olivia. Don't downplay it. The air thickened. Olivia could see the gold flecks in his eyes. The smooth texture of his young skin unmarked by the fine lines she was beginning to notice in her mirror every morning. She felt vulnerable, exposed. Liam. She started, not sure what she was about to deny. Suddenly, a loud noise like a blunt bang echoed at the double doors to the main entrance. They both turned, breaking the spell. What was that? Olivia asked, frowning. Liam tensed. His relaxed posture vanished in a second, replaced by near military alertness. Sounds like trouble. Stay here. It's my community center, Liam. I'm not staying behind. They walked together toward the lobby. Through the glass doors, shadows moved and strange lights flickered. Not Christmas lights, flashes. Liam cursed under his breath one short, brutal word. They found me. Olivia stared at him, confused by the shift. The sweet, nerdy sound tech disappeared. In his place stood a man with a clenched jaw and cold eyes. Who? The press. The vultures. Liam turned to her, gripping her shoulders firmly. Listen to me, Olivia. Don't go out. I'll go out, I'll distract them, and you'll leave through the back door, the kitchen one. Go straight to your car and home. What? I'm not leaving you alone with. Olivia, his voice rose commanding. They're not fans. They're paparazzi. They'll ask, they'll shove, and they'll invent. I don't want them to see you with me. I don't want to drag you into my circus. My circus. There it is. Reality. He's a celebrity in hiding. I'm the local choir director. Different worlds. Different galaxies. This is my town, Liam. I'm not hiding in my own kitchen, Olivia snapped, Gemini pride stung. If they want photos, I'll give them photos of an angry woman calling Sheriff Miller, who also sings bass in my choir, before Liam could stop her. Olivia shoved the doors open and stepped into the frozen night. Cold air slapped her face, immediately followed by a rain of blinding flashes. Liam! Liam! Is it true you left the tour because of a breakdown? Liam, who's the woman? Your new local conquest. Ma'am. Are you his therapist? Questions flew like darts. Olivia blinked through the glare, suddenly feeling very small and very unglamorous in her practical puffer coat and snow boots. Ma'am, they called her ma'am. An arm wrapped around her strong, heavy, protective. Liam came out behind her. He didn't hide. He stepped between the cameras and Olivia, using his body as a human shield. He lifted a hand not to wave, but to block lenses. Back off, Liam said. He didn't shout, but his voice carried steel that cut through the noise. You're on private property. You're harassing a local citizen. You have 3 minutes to disappear before the police arrive. And believe me, around here the police are family. We just want a statement, Liam. A photographer yelled. My statement is, get out. Liam guided Olivia toward her car, covering her face with his own coat, creating a bubble of darkness and sandalwood around her. Olivia let him. She was trembling not from cold, but from the sudden violence of intrusion. She felt old, tired, out of place. At her car, Liam opened the door. "I'm sorry," he said, voice broken. "I'm so sorry, Olivia. I didn't want this to happen." "Go home, Liam," Olivia said, starting the engine. She needed space. She needed to think. "We'll talk tomorrow." A few days later. Only a few days left until the Carol Festival, and Candlelight Springs feels smaller by the hour. The next morning, Candlelight Springs no longer felt like a safe refuge. Outsiders with expensive cameras drank coffee in Betty's cafe on the square, watching locals like they were extras in a movie. Olivia stood in the square with her task list, trying to ignore the sensation of being watched. A knit hat pulled low, her long coat buttoned tight. She felt exposed. "Looks like the circus came to town, Liv. You always liked drama, but this is excessive even for you." The voice came from behind. A voice Olivia knew as well as her own breathing, and that hit her like an ice-cold shower. She turned. There was Simon, her ex-husband, 50, elegant in a carefully studied way. Camel cashmere coat, silk scarf, and that perpetual disappointment sitting on his thin lips. Simon was a classical music critic for a city newspaper. A man who believed music ended at Mahler and everything else was vulgar noise. Great. The full picture. All we need now is to have frogs raining from the sky. My ex, the man who told me my career was adorable but irrelevant, is here to witness my public humiliation. "Simon," she said, keeping her voice neutral. "What are you doing here? This isn't your habitat. Too many happy people, not enough pretension." Simon smiled with the condescension that used to shrink her during their marriage. "I was in the area covering a concert in the next town, and I heard rumors. They say Liam the pop prodigy boy is hiding here, and that you, my dear Liv, are involved." He stepped closer, eyeing her up and down with a critic's gaze. "You look well. A bit fuller, perhaps. Small-town air suits you. It makes you look matronly." The insult was subtle, silk-wrapped, like always matronly, a polished way of calling her old and fat. Olivia felt tears sting her eyes. At 45, Simon still knew exactly where to hit to trigger her insecurities. "I'm healthy, Simon, and happy." "Something you probably don't understand." "Happy?" Simon gave a soft laugh. "Conducting a group of off-key amateurs? Playing house with a pop star young enough to be your student? Liv, please, have some dignity. That boy is playing at simple life. He'll get bored. He'll leave you heartbroken and the town full of media trash." "You were always a naive dreamer." Olivia opened her mouth to defend herself. But the words snagged because a part of her, the insecure part that wakes up at 3 a.m., thought Simon might be right. "I don't think that's any of your business," a low voice said behind Simon. Liam appeared, not in work clothes. In a structured black coat, leather boots, and dark sunglasses, he removed them as he stepped beside Olivia. He looked like a star. He looked dangerous, and he was furious. Simon turned, raising an eyebrow. "Well, the famous Liam in the flesh." Liam ignored Simon and looked at Olivia, scanning her face, searching for damage. He saw the shimmer of held-back tears and his jaw tightened. He stood beside her. He didn't touch her, but his presence became a concrete wall between her and Simon. "Who is this man, Olivia?" Liam asked, still staring coldly at Simon. "He's my ex-husband." "Liam, Simon, he's a music critic." "Ah, a critic," Liam said, loading the word with contempt. "Those who can't do criticize." Simon bristled. "I am an expert in my field, young man. I recognize quality. And I recognize when someone is out of their league." I was telling Olivia not to get her hopes up. Your world and hers are incompatible. She's a middle-aged woman with a small-town choir. You're, well, a temporary investment? The silence in the square went absolute. Liam stepped toward Simon. He was taller, younger, and far more imposing. "Listen carefully, Simon, because I won't repeat myself." Liam's voice was low, soft, and terrifying. "I've played stadiums of 80,000 people. I've worked with the best producers in the world. And never not once in my entire career have I seen someone with more talent, passion, and light than Olivia Jones. Her small-town choir has more soul in one note than all the reviews you'll write in your sad life." Simon paled. Liam continued, relentless. And as for being a middle-aged woman, you're right about one thing. She's out of my league. She's real. She's incredible. And you were an idiot to let her go. Now I suggest you get into your expensive car and disappear from my town before I decide the press needs a fresh scandal about a critic harassing a local woman. Simon stared at Liam, then at Olivia. He saw the battle was lost. He snorted, adjusted his scarf, and walked away without a word, his dignity in shreds. Olivia stood shaking, watching her ex's back retreat. Liam turned to her. The fury drained from his eyes, replaced by desperate concern. Are you okay? He asked, lifting a hand toward her arm, then stopping short, as if afraid to burn her. Olivia looked at him. At this 29-year-old man who had just defended her with the ferocity of a lion and the elegance of a gentleman. Do you really think that? She asked, voice cracked. Or were you just performing? Liam held her gaze. Olivia, I have never performed with you. Not once. The drive in Liam's car was quiet. Not awkward loaded, dense, like the air before an electric storm breaks. Olivia watched snow-heavy pines pass the window, trying to process what just happened, her ex humiliated. A pop idol defending her like she was crown jewels. The press circling the town. The car stopped in front of a dark wood cabin set back from the road, protected by a wall of fir trees. The most expensive and private rental in Candlelight Springs, the kind of place writers use to finish novels or stars use to hide. We're safe here, Liam said, killing the engine. He sounded tired. They went in. The interior wasn't what Olivia expected. She'd imagined sleek luxury, cold minimalism, but the cabin felt lived in. A huge fireplace burned, yes, but Persian rugs overlapped on the floor. Instruments everywhere, acoustic guitars leaning against sofas. A synth keyboard on the dining table surrounded by empty coffee cups and spiral notebooks, cables snaking across the floor like tech vines. Not a star's house. A musician's lair. Liam took off his coat and tossed it onto a chair. He ran a hand through his hair, messing it up, cracking the perfect image the world expected. Do you want something to drink? I have wine. Or tea. Or cheap whiskey I bought at the gas station because I liked the label. Olivia lingered near the entrance, suddenly feeling oddly big and clumsy in such an intimate space. Tea is fine. I need to calm down. While Liam moved around the small kitchen, Olivia drifted to the dining table. One notebook lay open. Liam's handwriting was frantic scribble full of cross-outs. She caught one line. Silence is louder than applause when you're alone in the room. My God, he's not a manufactured product. He's real. All this time I judged him by magazine covers, pretty boy, lucky, but this is anguish. This is art. And here I am worrying whether my hips are too wide or whether Simon's right about my mediocrity. Liam returned with 2 steaming mugs. He noticed her looking at the notebooks, but he didn't close them. He didn't hide.
He handed her a cup. Their fingers brushed warm.
I'm sorry about Simon, Liam said, leaning on the table, staring at her. He had no right to speak to you like that. Simon always had a sharp tongue, Olivia said, taking a sip. The tea was strong Earl Grey. What scares me is that... Maybe he's right, Liam. Liam set his mug down with a sharp clack. The sound made Olivia jump. No, don't say that again. Look at us, Liam. Olivia spread her arms, gesturing to the room and then to herself. You live here, surrounded by creativity and brilliant chaos. You're 29. The world is waiting. I'm 45. My big achievement is getting Mr. Miller not to go off-key in carols. Simon said I'm a temporary investment for you. A quaint small-town experience before you go back to your real life. Liam stared at her. His light eyes, those eyes that used to be playful, were now deep wells of intensity. He walked toward her. Olivia wanted to step back, but her feet refused. You think this is a tourist experience for me?
He asked, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper.
You think I'm hiding here because I like snow? I don't know, Liam. I don't know anything. I'm hiding because my real life, the one Simon envies, was killing me. Olivia. Liam took her hand and pressed it to his chest, right over his heart. Olivia felt the strong, fast rhythm. It was empty, it was noise. And then I got here. And I saw you yelling at a bunch of off-key teenagers with more passion than I felt in 5 years of touring. He stepped closer, erasing the space between them. You are not a stop on the way, Olivia.
You are the destination I didn't know I was looking for? Liam's words hung in the air, heavy and sweet. Olivia felt her logical defenses, those Gemini walls built from sarcasm and analysis, crumble brick by brick. You're very young, she whispered as a last resort, a final trench. Liam let out a soft, rough laugh and slid his hand to the back of her neck, fingers threading into her loose hair. And you think too much? Let me quiet that mind of yours for a while. He kissed her, not a tentative movie kiss. A claiming kiss. Liam kissed with hunger, with an urgency that pulled a muffled sound from Olivia into his mouth. His lips were skilled, firm, demanding. Olivia felt the floor vanish beneath her. She clung to his shoulders, feeling the knit of his sweater and the hard muscle underneath. To hell with logic. To hell with Simon. If I'm going to crash, I want it to be at 300 kilometers per hour. Liam guided her backward until her legs hit the worn leather sofa. They sat, or rather fell into a tangle of limbs. The tea mugs were forgotten on the table. Liam's hands didn't stay still. They traveled from her neck to her waist, tracing the curve of her hips with a reverence that stole Olivia's breath. When his hands slipped under the hem of her turtleneck, touching the bare warmth of her back, Olivia tensed on instinct. Turn off the light, she whispered, pulling her mouth from his. Shame-old and sticky rose in her throat. She didn't want him seeing reality without filters. The softness of her belly, gravity, years. Liam stopped. But he didn't turn off the light. Instead, he cupped her face, making her look at him. Firelight danced in his pupils. No, he said. Liam, please. I'm not 25. I'm not. Firm. Thank God, he said, fierce. Liam lifted her to pull off her sweater. Olivia raised her arms, exposed, vulnerable. She stood in a nude lace bra, her skin glowing in the firelight. Liam looked at her. There was no judgment, no disappointment. Only pure devotion. His gaze moved over her like he was memorizing a complex, beautiful score. You're perfect, he murmured, lowering his mouth to kiss the soft curve of her shoulder. Then her collarbone, then the start of her chest. You're a woman, Olivia. A real woman. I'm tired of mannequins. I want warmth. I want this. When he eased her down onto the sofa and positioned himself over her, the weight of him felt like the best blanket in the world. Olivia stopped thinking, stopped analyzing. She surrendered to Liam's musician hands, strong, skilled fingers that knew exactly where to touch to make her tremble. They made love to the soundtrack of wind howling outside and firewood cracking inside. It was an act of reclaiming. With every slow, deliberate touch, Liam proved that age wasn't subtraction, it was accumulated sensuality. He kissed her insecurities until they disappeared. And Olivia, for the first time in years, felt not only desired but adored. At the peak, when she cried his name, Liam held her eyes, anchoring her to earth, making sure she knew exactly who was with her and why. Afterward, they lay tangled beneath a wool blanket Liam had pulled off the back of the sofa. Olivia rested her head on his bare chest, listening to his breathing settle. Liam reached for the small keyboard by the sofa, like it was the most natural thing in the world. He played a slow, aching progression, soft enough not to break the cabin's quiet. Olivia hummed without thinking, low, warm, and steady, and Liam's eyes flashed. That, he whispered. That's the chorus. She laughed under her breath. So we're really doing this? We are, he said, pressing a gentle kiss to her hair. The melody of the storm? Still think I'm going to get bored? Liam asked, tracing lazy circles on her bare arm. Olivia smiled against his skin. I still think you're crazy. But it's the kind of crazy I like. Morning sunlight brought a crisp, bright reality. No paparazzi at the cabin window thanks to the secret location, but the problem still existed in town. Olivia stood in the cabin kitchen wearing Liam's oversized flannel shirt, making coffee. She felt different, more solid. Simon could say what he wanted, she knew what happened last night. And she knew it wasn't an act. Liam walked in already dressed in black jeans and a dark sweater. He held his phone and wore that work mode expression Olivia had seen the day before. I made some calls, he said, accepting the coffee Olivia handed him and kissing her quickly on the lips. My agent is handling the press. He fed them a fake trail in London. Most of the photographers will leave for there by noon. A fake trail? Olivia arched an eyebrow.
He leaked that I'm recording a surprise duet there.
It's a lie, but it'll clear Candlelight Springs. A couple stragglers might remain, but we can handle them. Olivia leaned against the counter, impressed by the cold efficiency of that world. And the festival? It's tonight, Liam. If photographers show up in the auditorium, the choir will panic. Edna will faint. Liam set his cup down and stepped closer. The festival will be perfect, because I have a plan. But I need you to trust me. I trust you, Olivia said immediately and surprised herself by realizing it was true. Good, because we're changing the repertoire. We're giving them something they don't expect. Something that'll make Simon swallow his words and make the press, if they stay talk about the music, not the scandal. What do you have in mind? You and me, Liam said. We're singing together. Olivia laughed nervously. No. I conduct, Liam. I don't sing. I've had stage fright since conservatory. That's why I'm a teacher. Liam took her hands. You didn't look frightened last night, he said with a wicked grin that made her blush. You have a beautiful voice, Olivia. I've heard you hum while you organize scores. You have soul. You have truth. Liam, I can't. Yes, you can. Because I'll be with you, not as the pop star, as your accompanist at the piano. You'll be the star. We'll sing that song we improvised the night of the storm.
It's ours.
Sing. In front of the town. In front of Simon if he's still here. In front of cameras. It's insane. Social suicide. But I look at this man with his eyes that believe in me more than I do, and I think, what would I lose if I jump? If I go off key, I'm blaming you, she said, squeezing his hands. Liam smiled, triumphant. Deal, now get dressed. We've got a rehearsal to blow up. They spent the afternoon in the locked-up auditorium, while the town buzzed outside preparing the Christmas market. Inside, there were only the two of them and a borrowed, Steinway grand piano on loan for the festival that Liam had convinced the local tuner to make sound like angels. Olivia stood beside the curve of the piano. She wore comfortable clothes, but felt naked. Singing in front of Liam was infinitely more intimate than undressing in his cabin. I can't reach that note, she said, frustrated, brushing hair from her face. Her conductor perfectionism was colliding with her performer fear. My voice is rusty, Liam. I've spent 10 years conducting, not singing. I'm going to embarrass myself. Liam stopped playing. He rose from the bench and walked to her. The sunset light hit his profile, highlighting that intensity Olivia now recognized as easily as her own pulse. Your voice isn't rusty. It's hidden, he said, placing a hand on her diaphragm, just beneath her ribs. His warmth seeped through her shirt. Breathe here. Don't sing for the room. Don't sing for Simon. Sing for me. Olivia looked at him. It's a sad ballad, Liam. It's about getting lost in the snow. No, he corrected gently. It's about finding yourself in the storm. It's our story. He returned to the piano and played the opening chord, a deep, melancholy B minor that opened toward a brighter hope. Olivia closed her eyes. She pictured the cabin. The fire. The way Liam looked at her like she was the only music worth hearing. She opened her mouth and sang. The first note trembled, but the second came steady and round, with that dark velvet timbre only voices with some life behind them can carry. Liam smiled without stopping. There she is, he whispered. There she is. Night fell and the community center transformed. It no longer smelled damp, it smelled of pine, warm wax, expensive perfumes mixed with wet wool coats. The whole town was there. And so were the vultures. Even after Liam's agent diverted most, a couple stubborn photographers slipped into the back. And in the front row, arms crossed and wearing a carefully bored expression, sat Simon. Olivia stood backstage smoothing her dress. Not the functional black conductor outfit. This was an emerald green velvet gown, long fitted to her curves, shoulders bare. She felt powerful, but her hands shook. Gemini has two faces. The one that wants to run and throw up in the bathroom, and the one that wants to walk out there and prove to the world, and to Simon that I'm not a temporary investment. Tonight, the second one wins. Liam stepped up beside her. He wore a black suit without a tie, shirt unbuttoned at the collar. Devastating. He took her hand and kissed it. Ready, boss? I want to throw up, she admitted. Good. That's adrenaline. Use it. They walked onto the stage. The auditorium's murmur died instantly. First, because Olivia Jones looked like an opera diva instead of the practical teacher everyone knew. And second, more importantly, because of who sat at the piano beside her. A whisper rolled through the room like a wave. It's him. It's Liam. A few flashes fired from the back, but Liam didn't even blink. He adjusted the mic and looked at Olivia. She stepped to center stage, facing the standing mic. She looked out at the audience, Mrs. Higgins, Sheriff Miller, her choir students staring with wide eyes, and Simon watching with one eyebrow raised, waiting for failure. Olivia took a deep breath, closed her eyes for a second, and nodded at Liam. The music began, not a classic carol. It was the melody of the storm, the song they'd written together between sheets and snow. When Olivia started to sing, the room stopped breathing. Her voice was low, sensual, full of texture. Not the voice of a 20-year-old pop girl, the voice of a woman. She sang about cold, about the loneliness of an empty house, about the unexpected warmth of someone else's fire. Liam accompanied her not only with the piano, but with his gaze. In the chorus, he joined with a second-line perfect harmony weaving into hers. The chemistry was so palpable, it was almost indecent. They didn't touch, but their voices were making love on stage. Olivia looked at Simon as she sang the final line. I don't need them to tell me who I am, because the snow has already erased my old footprints. She watched the arrogance mask crack. She saw surprise. And for the first time in years, she saw respect, or maybe fear of realizing what he'd lost. The last piano note dissolved into the air. 3 seconds of absolute silence. Then the auditorium erupted. The ovation was deafening. Choir students stomped their feet on the risers. People stood. Overwhelmed, Olivia pressed a hand to her chest, smiling with tears in her eyes. Liam rose from the piano and walked to her. In front of the entire town, in front of the cameras, and in front of Simon, he wrapped an arm around her waist and kissed her briefly on the cheek, but the way he held her, the pride and claim in his posture said everything.
He whispered in her ear, "Told you were a star."
From the stage, Olivia caught movement in the front row. Simon was putting on his coat. He didn't look back. He headed for the side exit, hunched, defeated, not by shouting, but by the undeniable evidence of her talent and happiness. Goodbye, Simon. Take your reviews back to your gray apartment. I'm staying here. In the light. Later, while the town celebrated with punch in the lobby, a reporter approached. Liam slipped a protective arm around Olivia's shoulders, but she didn't hide. Liam, is this your return to the stage? The reporter asked. Liam glanced at Olivia and smiled. No, this is my debut as Mrs. Jones' accompanist. And I plan to keep the job for a long time. Christmas morning, December 25th arrived with bright sun on the snow. In Olivia's house, the kitchen smelled like good coffee from Antonia's Corner, the little roaster downtown. Of course, and blueberry pancakes. Liam stood at the stove wearing only plaid pajama pants and an old t-shirt, humming softly. Mistletoe the cat, who hated everyone, was curled at his feet, betraying his owner for a little male warmth. Olivia came downstairs in thick wool socks and Liam's flannel shirt. She felt tired, happy, and whole. Traitors, she said, staring at cat and man. Liam turned with a spatula in hand and a smile that lit up the kitchen. Merry Christmas, rock star. Merry Christmas, prodigy boy. They sat at the kitchen table wrapped in light, no grand luxury, just them. I have something for you, Liam said, sliding an envelope across the table. Olivia opened it, not jewelry. Not plane tickets for a tour, blueprints, plans to renovate the old barn behind Olivia's house. What is this? She asked. A recording studio, Liam said, buttering his pancake. A real place, so I can compose and well, you can have somewhere no one tells you can sing. I want to build it here. If you'll let me stay, that is. Olivia stared at the plans. Stared at this man who left the world behind to find her in the snow. She thought about her 45 years, her fears, her ex. Then she thought about the music they made together. Only if you promise to soundproof it, she said, that Gemini spark returning to her eyes. Mistletoe hates bass. Liam laughed, leaned over the table, and kissed her slow, tasting of blueberries and forever. Deal, Mrs. Jones. Liam laughed, leaned over the table, and kissed her slow, tasting of blueberries and forever. Deal, Mrs. Jones.